One of the most appealing traits of downtown Holland in the wintertime is the lack of snow on the sidewalks and the streets. And that's due to the city's impressive underground snowmelt system.
Yeah, but where does that heat and energy all come from? How does that all work? I took a trip to Holland Energy Park to learn more. Take a look at this. It's not very common for an energy park to have a visitor center. But, municipalities generally have a role to play in engaging with their community, helping to raise the level of literacy on utility issues, helping people understand what's important about the utilities that are important to their lives. And we really just captured that opportunity. It was a very intentional process of deciding to build the plant, what it looked like, and then what it was going to represent. And a destination is one of those things. And we wanted to make sure that we took advantage of the design up front. So we created this visitor center as part of the design of this plant. We tried to make the experience different from all types of learning, ways that people learn, age groups. So we have things, if you just want to go read about a particular thing, you can read the plaques that are there. If you want to interact with an exhibit, you can get hands-on and actually decide, what kind of improvements you want to make in your house. We give people a little simulation game where they can decide. They get a budget, they can actually choose what things they're going to buy with a barcode reader, put it in their home and see how efficient that is. They can turn a wheel to turn on the Snowmelt system or turn it back off and see what happens with that. So whether it's a 10-year-old coming in with a school group or an adult education group that's coming in to learn about energy in their community, there's something here for everybody to experience and appreciate. I don't know if we were the first ones, but we certainly are the largest in North America in terms of our Snowmelt system. Holland had a pioneer back in the 80s, and that was Ed Prince. He was one of our industrial leaders in our community. He saw this happen over in Europe and brought the concept back. And in the late 80s, we created a snowmelt system in our downtown, and it was just a few blocks, and now we've grown that to where we have over 5 miles of walkable area in our community between the sidewalks and the streets that are there. And that really is the largest in North America publicly owned snowmelt system. Our snowmelt is made possible due to the fact that we have a product that normally would have to be, heat would have to be rejected back to the environment. We have a cooling tower on site here that does that, but in the wintertime, what we designed in is an integration to our downtown snowmelt system. So now we're not losing that heat. We're capturing it and putting it into those tubes that are under the streets and sidewalks. And it's going out at about 95 degrees Fahrenheit, which is enough to melt about an inch of snow per hour in normal conditions. So if it's not a real extreme cold or extreme wind, but even if it is, it'll catch up over time, but it can keep up under most snow conditions downtown. This plant, again, improved dramatically, 95% reduction in our nitrogen oxides from our coal plant, 50% reduction from our carbon dioxide emissions, and essentially virtual elimination of any sulfur dioxide, lead emissions, mercury, particulate matter, really reduced and cleaned up our portfolio significantly. But Holland has a 40-year community energy plan, and we're working on not just how energy is produced, but how energy is used in our community. And we have a goal of reducing our carbon footprint of our community down significantly. So going into the future, there will be retirements of other assets that we have. We receive power from the Campbell coal plant up in Port Sheldon. We also receive power from the Bell River plant over in St. Clair, Michigan. Those are 2 coal plants in Michigan that are planned to shut down before the end of this decade. And so we will be replacing that and continuing this integration of additional renewable energy into our portfolio. We already have about 30 megawatts of solar in our portfolio and about 32 megawatts of wind to supplement this plant. So we are continuing to move in that direction. As far as this plant is concerned, there's technologies that are being worked on today to look at hydrogen, hydrogen being a fuel source of the future. That may be still out a ways in terms of that, but I think we're positioned here that if that happens, we know that the manufacturers of our equipment are looking at that too, because as far as a world, everybody's moving in a direction to try to lower that carbon intensity down. Holland did a great job when the plan was put in place in 2010 to 2020. We've reduced our carbon footprint from 24 metric tons per capita as a community down to 17 as an entire community, and we're continuing that that, the group that has just met to help revise that in our community came out with new strategies and goals and presented that to City Council last week. And the goals for 2030 are to bring that number from 17 down to 12 by that time. So we're making regular progress in our community, and this plant is a big part of that, but it also has to do with how people are using energy in our community. They're doing that wiser, and as a utility, we're trying to help them with that.
Pretty amazing stuff to see, like under the sidewalks. You want to learn more about the Energy Park? Head to hollandenergypark.com, and for all things Holland, just visit holland.org.